Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very new first installment of 30 Parks in 30 Days. My name is Mike Redman alongside Darren Redman, and we are here to talk about the Chicago White Sox 2025. It's got to be better, right? Like we've learned as we grew up to never say it can't get any worse. But with a 41-win team, I don't think it can get any worse, but we shall see. Darren, how you doing today?
I am so excited. I've been looking forward to this 30 parks in 30 days for such a long time. This is Mike's idea, and boy, it's a wonderful one because, it's funny. You take down the Christmas tree and you're like, at least for me, you start to already think of spring training. I do. It's like the time after Christmas, after New Year's, until after the Super Bowl, especially till spring training can't happen fast enough. So this 30 parks in 30 days to me means baseball season has started. 41 wins, Chicago White Sox. Yeah. We'll talk about it.
And you're right, and we're going to dive into them in just a minute, and we'll talk about our sponsor here in just a minute. But you mentioned, after Christmas, and you got the baseball blues. I've already gone through the A-list movies. I've done Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, The Rookie. Mm-hmm. I've done Angels in the Outfield. I've done Little Big League. Like I've already run the course on the A-level ones, so I'm already there. Yep.
And listen, Bad News Bears, so good.
Yes,
so good.
I saved that for round two, so that's at A-level too. I just didn't get through them all. So, but yeah. So before we chat about the Chicago White Sox and all their greatness, go ahead and if we could share with our listeners the exciting world with Nashville Tax Solutions and Christopher Bennett.
Attention, Palm Bay and everybody else. You have tax troubles? Nashville Tax Solutions has got you covered. Whether you're behind on your returns, you're facing a lien, or just need expert advice, their team is ready to help. Here's what some of the clients have said. Chris Bennett and his team saved me from a financial nightmare. The team is knowledgeable, clear, and compassionate. So don't let taxes stress you out. Reach out to Nashville Tax Solutions today. Call 615-502-2250. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or email info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com. Nashville Tax Solutions, where tax resolution is achieved.
And speaking of achieved, breaking news right here. I haven't even got to share this with you yet. So those that just listened to that announcement, breaking news for you right now. We talked about Nashville Tax Solutions in Palm Bay. I am graciously now able to share with the masses. Also, now in Fort Pierce, Florida, a second location for Nashville Tax Solutions. And you can reach them and both locations now at 855-627-4829. So congratulations, Nashville Tax Solutions has expanded into Fort Pierce as well as Palm Bay. So super exciting news. So if you are anywhere near the Fort Pierce area, go ahead and check them out. So hot off the press as we're recording this. So that's exciting.
That's great.
That's awesome. So speaking of what's not great, though, are the 2024 Chicago White Sox. Now, great if you wanted to afford a ticket to go to a game, you could probably get in, an entire weekend series for $1.99. But so we are starting here with the Chicago White Sox. And right off the bat, one thing I wanted to mention, we all know about the record, right? 41 and 121. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there were basically 41 games out of fourth place, not out of first place, but 41 games back of fourth place. So that just kind of puts things into perspective.
Nipping at the Twins' heels.
Yes. And so much to unpack here, but where do you want to start in terms of the Chicago White Sox?
Well, what I like to do is start really off the field, really in the front office. And what did they have to do, or what do you think they had to do or would do this year to bring people to the ballpark, to see people talk about the Chicago White Sox? What would you do if you were in charge?
Excellent question. And so, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but I think if you're really looking into things, you don't ever want to publicly say, it can't get any worse. So come check us out. We're going to be better this year. I think that, they took their beating and they're bringing some people back. They've lost some people. I think the answer to that is just give us a chance. Like, there's just something about sticking with that team. It's tough to be in the trenches when things are as bad, and this is as low as it possibly can be. But to look and beyond that and see the small victories that they could have between now and then, and when they do make the postseason, it'll be that much sweeter because you stayed loyal to the team as bad as they were. It's easy to jump ship. You go across to the other team in Chicago right now. I know it's probably frowned upon, but I think it's just, hey, let's find something to be excited about because it can't all be bad. There's got to be some things, and everybody's undefeated right now. So, there's always that. But obviously, 2025 is not going to be any, they're not going to drastically improve to the point of making a wild card spot. But I think there's something to, okay, I'm going to stick with them. And in a couple of years, we'll anything's possible.
I think you're spot on. I think what you sell, what you market when you're the Chicago White Sox is the sport of baseball itself. That you have an opportunity here to watch a team build, to grow, to be part of something from its beginning. And that's the way that I would leverage it. And also, you can go and see some competitive ball games when other teams come into town. You want to see the Yankees. You want to see the Indians. The Guardians, rather. You want to see other teams that come in. You want to see your rivals, right? You want to see when the Cubs come in. So what a wonderful opportunity. I know when I was younger and in the 70s when the Mets were just horrible when they got rid of Tom Seaver, but boy, you can see some great teams. I got to see Willie Stargell come in. I got to see J.R. Richard play. You get to see these players come in, and then all of a sudden you turn around, wait a minute, my team is winning these games. And I'm not kidding when I tell you, do I expect the White Sox to make the playoffs? Absolutely not. But could it happen? Absolutely. It's not a tough division. The Guardians won 92 games. They're tough. Royals are always tough. But after that, the Tigers and the Twins, a couple good series, you can turn this thing around rather quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And, let's go ahead and let's take a look here. I believe if that's going to, I was hoping this would work here, but wanted to look at the lineup here. Let me try this real quick. Let me see here. Okay, that's not going to work, so I won't do that. What I wanted to do is to be able to show you the lineup for the Chicago White Sox for this next season. But since that's not going to show up on there, we'll go ahead and look over that together. It's a young lineup. We have Mike Tauchman, Luis Robert, Andrew Benintendi, Andrew Vaughn, Josh Rojas, Lennon Sosa, Miguel Vargas, a DH, Brooks Baldwin, shortstop, Corey Lee, catcher. So not a lot of household names, not a lot of names that are going to be pushing merch sales.
That's almost that. Listen, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's almost true. You know me, I'm a marketing guy, right? I would be like, hey, come on, kids. Sosa is back in Chicago. All right, it's a different Sammy. It's not Sammy Sosa, but it's I'm not lying. It's Sosa, right? So why not? We'll do that.
Yeah, why not? Let's go for the Sosa.
It's good.
It's good. And one thing that's very interesting, we look at the starting rotation. Every name on that projected starting rotation was not on the 2024 roster. They lost Garrett Crochet, Michael Soraka, Eric Fedde, and Chris Flexen, their main starters all last season. So we're looking at 5 potential names: Martin Perez, Jonathan Cannon, Davis Martin, Sean Burke, and Bryce Wilson. So, of course, anything could happen, especially with those 3, 4, and 5 spots with spring training. Nothing's a guarantee. So as of this recording date, that is what it looks like for the projections. But I wanted to ask you, and I think you have this in front of you too, but one of the things when we talk about a team moving from season to season and how they're going to get better, one player in particular, third baseman Juan Moncada, he was a guy who really they had high hopes for. He's no longer with the franchise. We have, Paul DeJong, shortstop, Kevin Pillar, Martin Maldonado. So they've dumped a lot there. When you look at the acquisitions that they picked up, catcher Omar Narvaez, which I'm familiar with him, Josh Rojas, a couple other names that I'm not too familiar with myself. So not a lot stands out, but sometimes that's okay. Like, obviously, they're not going to be like the New York Mets and make all these off-season acquisitions. Sometimes it's about get the guys that you feel can be part of the future, get their year 2 under the belt, get their year 3 under the belt. You can't rebuild top to bottom every single year. So I like the fact that some of the guys in the lineup are back from a year before. But,
Well,
the thing is, you got a guy like Andrew Benintendi. He's not a typical 3 hitter. If he was on any other ball club, he'd be an 8 hitter. But so what's your thought on that in terms of with the Chicago White Sox?
No, I think you put it perfectly. I mean, for example, like I love watching catchers play because I do feel that you build from the middle of your field, whether it's center field, catcher, and of course up the middle. Omar Narvaez, he's going to do some things. Giving this guy an opportunity to play at Chicago and this can become very easily his team, right? So that's a great idea. Bryce Wilson, for example, he's a good pitcher. He wants to earn his stripes. Again, you have an opportunity to play, to get seen, to make a difference. Austin Slater, same thing. Now, look, you think about it. There were about 10 people who left the team and no longer part of the Chicago White Sox. And it's not that, hey, you can't play the White Sox, you can't play, you make a silly joke like that. I mean, Kevin Pillar, very good player, but is he really part of a future? No, not really. Jimenez, DH, so season, he can maybe latch on someplace else. They got rid of the people they needed to get rid of and give people an opportunity to shine. I mean,
right, exactly. And I love that you just said that, because sometimes like, oh, well, we can get another 2 years out of this guy before he's whatever. Or, okay, we know he's not going to be, because we're looking at a 3 year from now to compete, 4 years from now to compete. If he's not going to be part of that, but this guy that may have just, may have had a subpar season, but's young and we see the potential there, it's better to go with that. So crystal ball, Darren, as we wrap this up, this is a little preview, a little tease, a little taste of what Chicago White Sox is going to be like in 2025. But if I had to ask you right now, so again, we mentioned 41 and 121. What is their approximate record, and where do they fall in the division with those other teams?
I think 76 and 86. I think they battle for third place, settle for fourth.
Okay. I can't argue with that. I mean, there's a lot of very strong teams above them. So I'm going to go with an improvement here. I didn't quite do the math, but I'm going to increase their win total from 41 to 58 is what I'm thinking. So an increase.
That's a big jump. That's a big jump.
Now, does it mean that they'll be as far behind the other teams? Because I think a lot of things went right for some of those teams. A lot of those teams in their division kind of tapered off towards the end. So anything's possible. So that's and it'll be fun. We'll look back at the end of 2025, see where we fell on that. So I do still have them in the gutter in that division. But again, like Darren mentioned, if they even get a second wild card, I'm not going to be like, oh my goodness, because anything's possible in this league. They say any given Sunday in the NFL, but anything can possibly happen, especially with that last wild card where there are more games going into September that matter than ever before. So thank you guys for joining us with the Chicago White Sox. And if you are a White Sox fan, continue to watch along with us this year, because we're going to have some White Sox content coming down the pipeline. So until then, next time, everybody, we'll see you around the ballpark.